Afternoon, fellow legends. I'm Wilstuff, and there's a snag in my boot. Don't judge me.
Toy Story was the absolute tits growing up. It was one of my favourite films from childhood. And being that the films were really good, of course, video games were made from it. And unlike other movie tie-in abortions, these games on home consoles were pretty good. But I'm gonna talk about the handhelds for the sake of this video. First is Toy Story on Game Boy. It's basically just a Super Nintendo version, except that it looks and sounds worse. Not much to say really, although the cutscenes just plain text. That's boring, even by Game Boy standards. Though the rest of the game's okay. Alright, next victim, Toy Story 2 on Game Boy Color. Man, this logo looks really good. In fact, the whole game looks promising. Let's find out. Oh shit, what did they do to you, bud? You look terrible! Okay, once you get past that, you start off with a brief objective that follows the movie quite well. Nice. And here we are with the game, and oh god, the controls are shit. Even by Game Boy standards. I mean, not only are the controls delayed by a mere second, but who in the right mind thought it was a good idea to make jumping and running the same button? The A button, specifically. Oh, remember the scene in the movie where Buzz shoots Rex and Rex runs like a little bitch? Yeah, me neither. How about the scene where Ham steals a battery right off Buzz just to give it back? I mean, not only is that a dick move, that's just straight up pointless. So after pissing around 2 levels later, we make it to Al's Toy Barn, my favourite scene from the second movie. Let's see if it's any good. Oh good, you got him off the fire hydrant. But seriously, who in the right mind would remember Ham the Pig procreating with fire hydrants from the movie, huh?
Okay. And yet I thought the rest of the game itself was terrible. But the fact that they have a level where Ham straight up dry humps a fire hydrant like that, it looks wrong. I mean, I don't even remember that in the movie. Yeah, I swear to God, if I get wet dreams of pigs procreating with fire hydrants, I'm throwing this shit fest out the window. And we'll probably smash it to pieces later on.
I mean, sure, it is a Game Boy Color game, but then again, it's not as good as Toy Story on Game Boy. Although, believe me, the amount of sins for this game will pale in comparison to the final shit show for today. Moving on to my favourite handheld from childhood with Toy Story 3 on the DS. It was okay. And why, all 2 of you viewers ask? Well, it goes downhill. I mean, look at these cutscenes. They have the characters talking, but for some reason, instead of a voiceover, like with Crash of the Titans on DS, they still have plain text.
Okay, answer me this, developers. What the hell is the absolute point of having characters move their mouths in cutscenes if all you're gonna do is just show text instead of, you know, actually voicing their cutscenes? I mean, at least with the Toy Story games on Game Boy, I could accept having text, but you'd think with newer hardware, they'd actually have the balls to do that. I mean, hell, even Crash of the Titans did that on DS, and that was 3 years before. So what's this game's excuse, huh? A load of bullshit.
Oh, and the music is terrible. I mean, aside from the make-believe levels, the main levels from the game just use the same tedious, boring music track over and over again. And like the rest of the game, it's long and tedious, and it has no reason to be. And aside from that, the game offers some variety. I mean, aside from the obvious make-believe levels, There are these new playtime levels that were exclusive to the DS version, and unlike the toy box mode from the better versions, yeah, these versions are just Bloons Tower Defense, but again, it's boring, goes on for way too long, 10 stages of this shit. Good luck trying to beat the game without having a massive yawn. Seriously, I'd have more fun sleeping than I would playing these shitty levels. But the biggest thing that puts my piss down to a boil is that this game excludes half the characters from the movie. And you may think, oh, hardware limitations. Bullshit. With Mario 64 on the same system 6 years before, it had all the characters from the original, and a few new ones. But with this game, it removes Jesse, Bullseye, the Potato Heads, Barbie and Ken, even the Bookworm. And sure, with the human characters, it kind of makes sense because, well, handhelds, I guess, and since the human characters were barely present in the Game Boy games, I guess they went, oh, okay, the human characters aren't in the Game Boy versions, even though they're in the movies. Let's do that. I mean, seriously. Even the front cover of this version lies to you by thinking Jesse's on the game, when really, it's not even close. I mean, as bad as Toy Story 2 on the Game Boy Color is, at least the music was decent, even though none of it was from the movie. But this game is worse in comparison because it removes half the characters, has really boring levels, tries to include variety, which isn't even that good anyway, especially playtime. And worse, they tried to get You Got a Friend in Me, but it's a shitty knockoff of the song. I mean, what's the point? And remember when I said that there was cutscenes in the game? Well, guess what? They're not the only ones. There's also these pathetic looking stills, which again, lies to you about the game. I mean, as you can see, Jessie's in some of the screenshots, even though she's not in the game. Like, were the developers really sexist? And yet I thought removing Winston from some of the Ghostbuster games was offensive. Overall, this game is just bland, hence why I called it okay. I mean, it's not even that good anyway, in case you couldn't tell. Just stick with the console versions, please. That or even just watch all 3 films, plus the 4th one. But whatever you do, just avoid these like the plague.
Subscribe for more stuff. There's new and awesome stuff. And not the